What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and we have officially made it to episode 9 for Velma. I cannot believe that this series is almost over. So many of you have joined me since the beginning, and honestly, I'm very thankful to this TV show for allowing me to connect with all of you. However, I am extremely happy that it is coming to an end. I'm not gonna lie to you. While it's been a lot of fun dunking on this show, it also creates a lot of brain hemorrhage. I feel like it really is that bad. So before we get into episode 9, guys, all I'm gonna ask you is the same as always. Please consider giving this video a like because it helps the video get shared, and not only that, consider blessing me with a long view duration because it helps me fight the YouTube algorithm on videos like this, and it really does help the channel grow tremendously. We've seen it over the last few videos that I've done over the last couple of weeks. I mean, the channel has been exploding, and it couldn't be done without you. So I appreciate you so much. And with that being said, let's get into the review for episode 9 of Velma. So if you guys remember in the last video, Velma's mom just magically found Velma in the cave after they discovered the serial killer's little hideout with the brains. And it's very strange because Velma's mom, they're trying to make it seem like Velma found her mom, but to be honest with you, Velma's mom just literally just appeared out of nowhere, which is kind of weird. So I really don't like the fact they didn't explain that at all. She just magically appears for no reason whatsoever, super dirty with no explanation other than, hey, I'm here, and I just magically was here at the right moment in time to save my daughter from falling down into a ditch. I thought that was really weird, but the episode starts out with the hospital because they're obviously rushing Velma's mother to the hospital, and you have one of the popular girls talking about her implants. Check this out.
It's amazing. Hopefully this time nothing causes my implants to come out.
Now, of course, they seem to be pushing the whole surgery thing on minors because keep in mind, this girl is very, very young. She's probably 15 or so. It's a little bit weird when you think about it. But yes, apparently she got butt surgery. And then they end up rushing to a room where they talk to Velma's mom and find out that she has amnesia. Velma, for some reason, thinks amnesia is curable, of which Norval's dad steps in and tries to give his own 2 cents. And then she, of course, just can't help herself. And she has to make yet another white man bad joke. Check this out.
But can we just let the actual doctor explain? Just being a white guy with a clipboard doesn't cut it anymore.
So again, this show is we're 9 episodes in and we're making the same exact jokes we've been making since the first episode. When I say that this show has no creativity, I literally mean it because this show is lacking in creativity in every way you possibly can imagine. It's terrible. It's always white man bad or men bad in general. It's bad. And if she's not making fun of white men, Mindy Kaling is making fun of her own people. That's basically what it is. So we continue forward, and Norval's dad ends up giving his 2 cents anyway, which I'm glad he did because fuck Velma. And he ends up explaining that she has some sort of mental wall that's blocking out the past and what she is able to remember when it comes to the serial killer, because Velma's mother obviously knows the identity of the serial killer but cannot remember it for any reason. So they say they have essentially 72 hours in order to get her to return to her memory. Otherwise, she's going to lose it forever. They devise a plan to do so, but then they have to remind Velma that you have to make some changes at home because any negative attention or any negative feelings or stress is going to just make it harder for her to remember things. So Velma ends up freaking out because obviously you have Sophie, who is the mistress to Amon after Velma's mother ended up disappearing. The father obviously moved on and had a baby with this person, which Velma's mother has no idea about. So they end up kicking Sophie out and basically saying she was only there to be a organ donor if need be, but not actually the mother of Amon's child. So they end up doing another Indian trope, right? Where they basically are trying to say that Velma's mom likes the place very dirty. They don't like the place clean. So because the house is so clean since Sophie moved in, we need to make it dirty so that her mother feels more at home. It's very strange to me. I don't really know why they're making that joke. I just don't get it. But like I said, they're allowed to joke about whatever the hell they want. But they also make a joke and they attack women who are kind of like basic women, right? So like women who have quotes on their pillows. I thought this was pretty funny, to be honest with you, because we all know someone like this. Check this out.
To keep me sane during all of this, breathe, keep calm, and carry wine. You're not an alcoholic, you're a mom.
Yeah, everybody knows people like that and women like that. They have quotes like that, so I'll give them 2 cents for that. I thought that was pretty funny. So they start basically making the place into a huge mess, and they're also kicking Sophie out at the same exact time because they can't show any evidence of her being there. So they're destroying the place, they're making it nasty, completely ugly, and then Daphne ends up coming over and seeing Velma and asking her if she was serious about what she said in the caves about wanting to be girlfriends. Check this out.
Since you said we should try being girlfriends in the caves, were you serious?
Yes, unless you don't want to, in which case, as if, bitch.
And they always been teasing this entire series of Velma and Daphne kissing again, but this time realizing that they want to be together instead of just being a random hookup. And then Velma ends up bringing up this weird, very creepy social media video, which is strange because they're talking about the three girls' brains and how they're still popular and that they took over the school yet again and how everybody's trying to steal their style. Check out this video. It's kind of weird.
Okay, fam. Today's Steal Her Style is Brenda, Krista, and Lola. So for this, you're gonna need a jar, some goo, and a saw.
Yeah, she ends up literally cutting her head. I don't even know what this show. This show sometimes is just, it's very strange. So Daphne ends up realizing that she's not quite that popular anymore, and she's trying to get popular enough so that she can go to this party that the girls are hosting, and she wants to bring Velma along with her. But Daphne still thinks that she's popular enough for both of them, but she's going to realize soon enough that she's not. Obviously, they get close to kissing, and then they realize that Velma's mother is about to be home. They kick everybody out. Everybody sneaks out through the back, and then Velma's mom comes in. They say, welcome home, and they sit down, and they go over memories together where Velma is asking her mother about the glasses, and then tries to give her mother her original glasses and not her upgraded glasses, which was these glasses that Velma is wearing, the glasses that belong to her mother, and they become her staple glasses. Her mother ends up getting a memory from touching the black glasses and realizes that she was looking at those exact glasses when she realized in a newspaper that the creepy manor that Fred bought finally was sold, obviously, to Fred's family. And then she puts two and two together, and then she comes back from that memory, and Velma decides to want to open the present that her mother had originally got her that she never opened up until right now because she was waiting till she found her mom. When she opens the present, she realizes that, oh, it's just literally a pair of red Mary Janes. Now, if you guys are familiar, the original Velma has red Mary Janes on the entire time. This is a callback to the original Velma. Obviously, so are the glasses, but yes, Velma has the red Mary Janes. Now she finally gets them in this series. Velma's mother ends up asking Velma if she's been able to keep up with her schoolwork because she doesn't want to be disappointed, of which obviously Velma is no longer valedictorian. It was stripped from her because she's not doing nowhere near as good as she used to. And she ends up wanting to come up with this idea to create a fake report card so she could give her mother so it looks like she's doing well in school. Fast forward to the school, the brains are very popular. It's very weird though. I don't understand this whole thing with, let's put, like, someone's writing "get well soon" on the jar, and I think it's really funny because, like, and not in a way that helps the show, but it's like, it's very funny because, like, what are you trying to do here? Like, the bodies are clearly decomposing somewhere. Like, they're never gonna get well soon. They're always gonna be brains, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Then they end up confronting Daphne, all three girls, Gigi included, mind you. Gigi is just becoming really bitchy in this show, and they say that her popularity has been revoked indefinitely, and that they require her to remove all her, basically, they require her to put loser across all her social media platforms, of which Daphne's like, are you serious? This is so stupid. Ends up going to Fred, and Fred is also ousted as popular because he cheated on all the brains with each other. Now, here's the funny thing. This show is made by people that pander to certain people who believe in ideologies, right? Like gender ideologies and identifying as whatever you want, right? So they end up making fun of a girl who identifies as a cat, and it reminds me of a story that was very true of a school that ended up getting sued because they would not put kitty litter in their bathroom for a girl who identified as a cat. Like, this was a real thing. And these kind of people pander to those kind of people, right? They pander to AKA the mob, right? And I think it's pretty funny that they pandered to those people, and yet here they are making fun of them in this TV show, saying that Fred is even less popular than the girl who identifies as a cat. Check this out.
Girl who pretends to be a cat won't talk to me anymore.
Please. Those girls don't decide if I'm popular.
So obviously, I just find that to be pretty funny and pretty strange. Now, we fast forward into the gymnasium, and you see Norville having a fencing competition where he's trying to win first place. He's having the final battle with this guy, and Velma's going to make this entire thing about herself. She's completely focused on her mom and having 72 hours in order to regain her memory, that she tries to interrupt the fencing match, of which, mind you, there is $1 million at stake, supposedly anyway. You'll see in a couple seconds. There's $1 million at stake, and Velma is just trying to distract Norville to convince him to make a fake report card for Velma so she can use it with her mom. Norville's obviously trying to focus, ends up getting frustrated and loses, and he loses $1 million, literally. Like, the prize was $1 million, which is crazy. If that was me, I would have sucker punched Velma. I'm not even going to lie to you. If you're going to cost me $1 million like that. Daphne ends up going during lunchtime to try to see if she can sit with the popular kids, and they end up ousting her, and she's forced to sit by the garbage, which nobody sits at unless they're really, really unpopular. Everybody in the entire school hates them, and Fred is literally the only one who's there by the garbage, and for some reason surrounded by bees, because they want to emasculate Fred, of course. They end up getting frustrated, and then they throw a chicken at Fred, and then when they throw the chicken at Fred, the bees obviously get crazy, and then they end up stinging him, and he obviously gets attacked by bees. So far, we're like almost 9 minutes into the episode, and none of it's funny. I'm telling you, like, this show is so bad. It is so bad, and I'm so happy that it's over. I only got one more episode to review after this, and then we get to talk about other subjects. But then Norval still ends up making her the report card, and then brings it to her house, only for her to, after thanking him, right? You think she's about to have a genuine moment of thanking him. She turns around and blames him because the serial killer is in the house, or at least that's what she thinks. And she says it's all Norval's fault because he took too long to get her the report card. Velma is probably the most unlikable character in an animated series that I've seen in such a long time. I can't think of another character that I've hated watching more than Velma. She is purposefully, I think, at this point, unlikable. And Mindy Kaling is probably just literally inserting herself completely. Like, I feel like this Velma is literally just Mindy Kaling. This is not anything else other than Mindy. So it's not the serial killer who ends up being in the house. It ends up being Sophie because she wants to go get the blanket that she left behind because they kicked her out of the house and she needs it for the baby, of which Velma's mother wakes up and realizes that, oh, did Amon have an affair and have a baby while she was gone, only for Velma to come up with some weird idea to say that the baby was hers and that the baby father is Norval. Check this out.
Before Velma and announced
Norville. The father is Norville.
So again, she's manipulating Norville, she's abusing him and making him do things that he doesn't want to do, of which her father does not agree, but that was the only thing they could think of at the time. So they end up having to be responsible for taking care of that baby, after which Velma's mother ends up having another flashback where she's found under Fred's house, trying to look for the secret entrance. She ends up going down a well and is attacked by bats. And then that's it, she wakes up from her memory. Figuring out that Velma's mother ends up liking the idea of Velma and Norval having a baby together, and that's why she was able to get that memory back, because it wasn't a negative feeling for her, it was actually a positive one. So they end up being forced to take care of the baby, at which Sophie ends up requesting money from Amon for all the craziness that's going on. She's trying to milk money from him. And they make a quick joke about Norval, which I think is pretty spot on, like on the nose. And I'm surprised they made this joke because Norval obviously is a black man, but they're trying to showcase Norval after being revealed that he has to take care of this kid. They showcase him leaving and never coming back, which is hilarious in my opinion. Not for the show, but just for the fact that I don't know if they really realized what they were doing here. Check this out.
Hey, you said this was your dream. Will you at least chip in for college?
I was also offered a vacation to Bali!
So Norval leaving after realizing he's a father was pretty spot on the nose and pretty funny. Velma's mother ends up visiting her in the bed, and they have a little bit of a conversation where they admit to each other that they love each other. And Velma tries to get out of watching the baby, but obviously that doesn't work. And then Norval shows up and helps change the baby and decides that he's going to be a father for this baby, which is just weird. It's weird. Like, this woman is clearly using you, and you're still gonna let her use you just because. Daphne ends up going back to the house and telling Velma that she's out with the brain. She's not popular at all. Then finding out that Velma's up to no good with the baby, and finds out she was a godmother according to her mother. And then Velma says that it's important for her to fake this relationship for the next 32 hours until her mother gets all her memories back, of which Daphne ends up getting a brilliant idea to fake a relationship with Fred in order to get her popularity back. So she goes to Fred's mansion, who he's in the bathroom, and he's purposely giving himself swirlies because now that he's unpopular, he wants to get ready to be bullied, apparently. Because, again, you have to emasculate Fred. This is the whole point of this show. He says he can't take being unpopular anymore, and Daphne says the same thing, but that she comes up with an idea that they're not popular individual, but if they're together, they'll be super popular. So they decide to go to school in Fred's limo and start this whole thing. So they arrive at the school, and everybody's taking pictures of them, posting them on social media. Everybody's shocked to see them together. And then we flash back to Norval's dad, who apparently is happy being a grandfather, even though that's not his real baby. It's very weird. Velma ends up trying to leave and pass the baby off to those two, and Norval's mom ends up saying, nope, that's not going to happen. And then we go to this weird scene in the science lab where Fred ends up getting smacked by Daphne because they're trying to portray like they're breaking up again. They're trying to spin this whole drama because they feel like the drama is going to bring them clout. And then we go back, and then we see them get back together. They're in a picnic, and then all the kids in the school end up wanting to go with them and sit with them, thus confirming that they are still popular yet again. Norval's struggling to stay awake, and then Velma's mother ends up having a flashback where she obviously sees the serial killer's face, but before you can see it, They pull away, and then she starts looking at old videos of Velma and how it's happy that she's happy that she's a mom, which again, Velma's like 15 here, so it's just kind of weird to me. Norval ends up getting fed up because Velma wants him to spin a fake story in the newspaper saying that she was a heroic teen mom for making her cousins all look like garbage. I don't really know what's up with that. She keeps reminding him about the serial killer, but Norval is just over it. He doesn't really want to do this. He says he's not going to sacrifice his journalistic integrity. So when Velma goes to change the baby in Lamont's room, which is Norval's dad, she ends up finding a welding mask and freaks out. When she freaks out, Norval's dad ends up showing up behind her. Check it out.
Well, has your mother regained her memory yet?
So that's the first little hint at who the serial killer could possibly be. And then we fast forward and you have Norval texting Velma like crazy, and Velma's not responding. And then all of a sudden we have a little bit of an FBI open up type scene. Check it out.
I haven't heard from her since this afternoon.
Huh. I wonder where she could be.
Freeze, Lamont!
So obviously what happened is that Velma reported Lamont to the police and says that he is a serial killer simply because of the mask. But then you come to find out that he was actually just using the welding materials and the welding mask in order to create a sword for Norval, which is what he wanted for his birthday. So Norval's dad, Lamont, is not the serial killer, and it's a misunderstanding of which Velma obviously feels very bad for, but she feels bad for everything, and yet she does nothing to fix herself because she's just completely toxic. But that's something we've come to expect. And now you have Daphne admitting that they're popular now in Fred's house. Fred's mom is very happy for him. They're both obviously very happy, but then Daphne ends up saying that she wants to take Velma to the party now that they're invited to the party and not take Fred. And Fred's like, that's not going to work. We need to go together in order to keep this image going. And Daphne says, well, we can't keep dating, like fake dating forever. Then she ends up making an affirmative action joke. Check this out.
Can't pretend to date forever. I'm already one conversation about affirmative action away from killing you.
Again, it's an anti-white man joke, but check out Fred's response. I thought it was pretty good.
Just saying, if white people are now the minorities on campus.
He's got a point. He's got a point. Even though they're not going to want to admit it, he's definitely got a point. So then we fast forward, and Fred's mom ends up wanting to recruit Daphne for a company, and Daphne says she would love to. And then we go back to a great scene now. This is the best scene, I think, since Velma got hit by a car. And it's where Norval has decided that Velma is just completely 100% narcissistic and abusive in their relationship, and that they're not friends, that he finally realizes that she is not going to do anything to try to be a good friend to Norval, and all he does is do good things for her, and she just completely either unnotices it or just decides to abuse it. And he finally walks away and says that he's going to draw the line at family, and that he's going to completely ignore her from now on. She doesn't believe him until he slams the door in her face, and then she starts to talk to the baby and say that she thinks that he's serious. And then all of a sudden the baby starts rolling. I don't know why the baby starts rolling, ends up landing into the Museum of Soft and Harmful Things, which is obviously a pun because the place is about to get ransacked by a bulldozer. It ends up happening, of which Velma freaks out and tries to run in after the baby. And then we fast forward to a scene of Daphne and Fred at the party, dancing, obviously being very popular. But then the girls, well, with the brains, they don't believe that they're actually a relationship. So what they do is tell them to kiss in order to prove it. Gigi's one of them as well. And Gigi obviously has a stank face going on. And then they decide to say, well, that's easy. And then they kiss. But then, unfortunately, Velma ends up walking in on them with the baby and Sophie. And not only that, Velma's mom is right behind them with her father. And then everything is exposed. Fred and Daphne's fake relationship. Velma and Norval's fake relationship. Amon actually cheating. The whole thing is exposed. And then the funny thing is, even though this has all been exposed, Velma's mother still ends up having yet another flashback because it's actually giving her freedom. Like, she's happy that Amon cheated on her because that means that she gets to get out of a loveless marriage. Those are her words, not mine. And then she ends up having a flashback about who the serial killer is. She says she remembers, and when she actually is about to say who the serial killer is, it cuts to the credits because they're not going to announce it right away. But then, of course, they fool you and they show you the flashback scene that the mother saw that they didn't show you initially before the credit scenes. And when the serial killer goes to the brain to lift the mask, it's none other than Velma's mom. Of course it's Velma's mom because we all saw this coming a mile away. But the funny thing is, we all also know that this is a complete fake out. It's obvious because you have an entire episode left Obviously, they're not going to make Velma's mother the killer, but they're going to fake it out and pretend like she is the killer, and that's how they're going to leave you on the cliffhanger for episode 9. So episode 10 is going to finally reveal who the killer is. I guarantee you guys it's going to be severely underwhelming, and they're not going to do anything close to what I wish they would do, and it makes me sad because even though I tortured myself to watch this show, I was hoping that they would do something crazy to make me go, oh, at least they did that. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. So for episode 9, guys, I'm going to give it, of course, a simple 1.5 out of 10. The show gets a 1.5 out of 10 consistently for the most part because it is consistently bad. Everything that makes a show bad in the other episodes is going to carry over into this episode, obviously. Not much is going to change, and they keep making the same jokes. That's the thing about this, and that's why the score stays where it's at, because they keep making the same jokes over and over and over again. They don't really change anything. It's literally the same story being told, and it's really sad. Like, you should be better writers than this to at least come up with better jokes. You've had maybe like one joke every other episode that was funny. Other than that, the show is just not funny. And that's what it is, because it relies on trying to be funny in order to push itself as an adult comedy, and it just doesn't quite get there. So with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode review. I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.